How do we secure spanning tree protocol? Can we password protect spanning tree protocol? No. Not even MST allows password protection, and that's best of breed. Because this is a protocol that is open, it's promiscuous, it wants other switches to participate with it. But that opens it up for exposure. So what can we do? Well, we can use BPDU guard. Now, what is BPDU guard? Can you describe that to me? Let's go to a switch and execute a command for it. Still logged into a switch, no problem. We can get through that. So BPDU guard. One thing we can do is say, I'm going to enable BPDU guard on all of my port fast ports. That's a common way to configure it, or you can go to interface level. So I do spanning-tree port fast BPDU guard. Just did it. But what did I do? What did I do? Well, what's going to happen is now ports that are running port fast will be disabled when they receive a BPDU. And this is a very powerful configuration because you do this on your access ports. So if I do something like interface range and specify all of my ports on this, I say spanning tree port fast, and I do that. You can attach it here, but I don't need to because I've got the BPDU guard default in global configuration mode, which wraps together or adds on that command. What now happens if I receive a BPDU on any of these ports, it's gonna kill them. And in fact, let's do this on one of my ports that is going to a legit switch. Let's make sure I know my connectivity. Show CDP neighbors. I'm going to turn on BPDU guard for one of these. So I'm going to say spanning tree, BPDU guard, enable. Look at that. Puts the port into the error disabled state. We can see it. Do show in status. You can see that it's error disabled. So that's the effect of the command. And it's very powerful. Do this on your access ports where you do not expect to receive BPDUs ever. I'm going to turn that off though. With a disable, do a shut, no shut to clear that issue. Then do a show interface status to ensure that we're back up and operational. So that's how you clear it off. Shut, no shut. Now what we are discouraged from doing is using BPDU filter. BPDU filter is just a really ugly feature. It has two very different modes of operation. It can be enabled in global config, and when enabled in global config, it removes the port fast command on ports that receive the BPDU. Okay. On interface level, it turns off spanning tree. That's a bad problem. So that isn't securing spanning tree protocol, that's unraveling spanning tree protocol. So really the way to secure spanning tree is BPDU guard. There is another. And it is root guard. Root guard is also a great feature, and I'm going to add that in because I think it's important. Root guard says, hey, I'm going to allow spanning tree. I'm even going to allow BPDUs to be received on a port. But if I see a superior BPDU, I'm going to place that port into the inconsistent port state. So let me just remind you of what that feature looks like. I might do this on DSW1. And we'll do a show CDP neighbors. And I'll say, I'm going to make sure that I'm the root. It might not be the root. VLAN 10 root primary. Didn't mean to uppercase that, just spanning tree shortened. Now I'm going to go to, let's say, a connection to ASW1 and 2. And I want to do spanning tree guard root. What this says is I'm going to affect this port if I receive a superior BPDU on a port. And I can see that for VLAN 1, a root bridge is out this port when I don't expect it to be. So it looks to me like we've got some poor configuration for spanning tree protocol. I'm not concerned about that. I want you to see exactly what's going on. And by the way, I probably just cleared that out. Got some interesting VLAN 1, root primary. So I'm going to take over the root bridge role for VLAN 1. Going to make sure that I'm the superior root bridge. And we can see that we're starting to react. And the way that we check this is show spanning tree inconsistent ports. And that is going to show us where the root guard feature has affected spanning tree, presumably because we're getting in a superior BPDU from a device that we don't think should be. Very nice feature to use at your distribution layer to prevent disruption to the root bridges of your topology.